Hello and welcome back to Man v Film. It's time for Eureka's October announcements. I love October announcements in general because it's usually when you get a lot of the spooky stuff coming out, which is some of my favourite kind of films. And I have briefly looked at the titles here, but I've not dove into the films as yet. And we're going to do that together. So let's just start straight away with The Screaming Skull. Sounds familiar. I'm not sure if I've seen it or not. Adapted from a short horror story by Frances Marion Crawford and making the directorial debut of Alex McNichol, The Screaming Skull is a hidden gem from the vaults of American International Pictures, an atmospheric and deeply eerie gothic chiller that plays like a meeting between Daphne du Maurier and William Castle. Following her marriage to Eric Whitlock, the wealthy Jenny moves into her husband's secluded country mansion inherited following the death of his first wife, Marion. Upon arriving at the house, Jenny begins to feel uneasy about Marion's fate. Supposedly, she drowned after hitting her head on the edge of a decorative pond in the gardens. Jenny then learns that Mickey, the groundskeeper, believes that Marion's ghost roams the estate. And soon, Jenny herself has experienced things she can't explain, terrified that she is in the grip of something supernatural. Clearly influenced by gothic melodramas such as Rebecca and Gaslight, and presaging the disquieting menace of such haunted house classics as House on Haunted Hill, The Innocents, and The Haunting. The Screaming Skull is filled with hair-raising set pieces and deserved its place in the pantheon of independent American horror cinema. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've seen this one. I thought with the title, maybe sounds really terrific. Sounds like the kind of thing I really enjoy. I love those kind of gothic horrors. It doesn't sound like it's in a rush for cheap scares or stuff like that, but it just, I've got a good feeling about this one. Limited edition Ocar's slipcase as a new collector's booklet featuring new writing. It's a 1080p HD presentation as the original English mono audio, English subtitles, a new introduction by horror novelist Stephen Laws, and shrouded in mystery, new video essay on the Screaming Skull and the Gothic horror tradition by film and literature scholar Mary Going, and some trailers. Yeah, I'm all in for that. That just sounds absolutely fantastic and something that I genuinely will probably love. And next we have now, I'm assuming this is going to be the kind of thing that I love because I loved Encounters of the Spooky Kind. I loved Mr. Vampire. I love these kind of strange, unusual horror films from Hong Kong. And I can just, I'm just hoping that they're fun more than anything. A little bit silly, I wouldn't mind that. Following the breakout success of the pioneering genre films Encounter of the Spooky Kind, The Dead and the Deadly, Mr. Vampire horror movies became a mainstay of film production in Hong Kong and Taiwan throughout the 1980s. Collected here are three of the standout titles from that horror boom, starring the likes of Chow Yun-fat, Wu Ma, and Ricky Hu, Scared Stiff, The Haunted Cop Shop, and Magic of Spell. Lau Kar-wing directs Scared Stiff, in which a young everyman develops the ability to enter other people's dreams following an accident, and then finds himself using his gift to bring a sadistic murderer to justice. Co-written by Wong Kar-wai and indebted in equal measure to Mr. Vampire and Fright Night, The Haunted Cop Shop sees cops and crooks alike forced to confront vengeful beings from beyond the grave in a police station built on the site of violence. Finally, in supernatural wuxia fantasy, on par with The Miracle Fighters and The Shaolin Drunkard, Magic of Spell follows a young kung fu master who must defeat the infernal demon responsible for his mother's death. Ranging in tone from laugh-out-loud comedy to straight-faced terror and featuring a litany of ruthless killers, restless spirits, and vengeful jiangshi and infernal devils. Scared Stiff The Haunted Cop Shop and Magic of Spell encapsulate the incredible range of Chinese language horror filmmaking in the 80s. This fits entirely into my wheelhouse. I do love all those other movies that are mentioned there, so I'm really excited about this. I saw that 88 Films were releasing The Haunted Cop Shop in America, and I was hoping it was going to come from Eureka, and it has, which is terrific. We've got a limited edition O-card slipcase. We've got a booklet featuring new essays, 1080p presentations on Blu-ray from the new 2K restorations, 2 presentations of Scared Stiff, the original Hong Kong theatrical cut and the uncut extended edition, original Cantonese mono audio, optional English subtitles, new commentary on Scared Stiff by Frank Jeng, new audio commentaries on The Haunted Cop Shop and the Magic of Spell by Arne Venema, Restless Spirits, new interview on the history of horror cinema in Hong Kong and Taiwan with film writer, curator Fraser Elliott. Sold. That'll sit lovely on the shelf next to those other films, and yeah, I will probably jump into those pretty quickly when that set arrives. Finally, we have Beneath the Trees, Folktales at DEFA Part 2. Possessing an eternally uncanny, weird and phantasmagorical quality, Marchen film or adaptations of popular folk and fairy tales by the likes of Wilhelm Hauff, Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm remain the productions that most distinctly characterise the cinema of East Germany and its state-operated film studio, DEFA. Collected here are some of the greatest and strangest folktale films made in the German Democratic Republic. The Tinderbox, Snow White and Rose Red, The Frog King and The Robe. In The Tinderbox, a young soldier agrees to help a conniving witch in her quest to retrieve a magical tinderbox protected by the guard dog of a monstrous proportions. Snow White sees an evil queen task a hunter with murdering her stepdaughter when a magic mirror deems her the most beautiful woman in the land. Then in Snow White and Rose Red, 2 young sisters encounter a pair of princes who have been transformed into animals by an evil mountain spirit. The Frog King follows a princess who must endure a series of trials to reach the castle of the Frog King, where she hopes to reunite with the handsome prince she once mistreated. Finally, in The Robe, 2 weavers arrive in town surrounded by an impenetrable wall and are tasked with making garments befitting of a tyrannical ruler, an adaptation of The Emperor's New Clothes. Collected here are some of DEFA's best-known Marchen film, including The Tinderbox, which was shown in a dubbed version on the BBC as part of Tales from Europe series, and some true rarities, including The Frog King and The Robe, which was put into production in 1961, but not completed and released until after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Oh. So, I have seen Snow White and Rose Red. Snow White was a lavish production and looked particularly incredible. I really enjoyed Snow White and Rose Red because it was just a little bit bonkers in all the right ways and was just incredibly fun. So this is limited to 2,000 copies. We have a limited edition hardbound slipcase. Have a 60-page book. 1080p presentations of all 5 films. We have the original German soundtracks. We have the optional English soundtrack for the Tinderbox. We have optional English subtitles, which have been newly translated for this release. A new audio commentary on the Tinderbox by cinema expert Ali Pitts. A new audio commentary on The Robe by Michael Brook. 2 Kingdoms, new interview with German cinema expert Rachel Palfreeman on the history of folktales in German culture. Mirror Mirror, new video essay on DEFA's adaptations of Snow White and Snow White Rose Red. The Emperor's New Clothes, a short stop-motion animation adapted from the Hans Christian Andersen tale. Hans Christian Andersen tale by the DEFA studio for animation's film The Fisherman and His Wife. Short stop-motion animated adaptation from the Brothers Grimm tale. Beauty and the Beast, a short stop-motion animation from Gabriel Susan Barbeau de Villeneuve tale by the DEFA Studios. The Robe started production in 1961, but was not completed and released until 1991. Only The Robe is 235:1 ratio. Again, I seen 4 of these DEFA films, so there is a set just about to come out already for the previous set, and I will dive into that as soon as it arrives. These are kitsch, strange, weird kind of films. I enjoyed them. They're definitely a product of their time. They're definitely a kind of curio and fun. You can just check from the trailers and you'll understand whether you're interested or not. For me, I enjoy them, so I'm looking forward to another set. It's October. I think it's a pretty good announcement setup as well. We've got the Screaming Skull, which just sounds gothic great. We have Ghouls Gone Wild, which gives me that kind of Hong Kong horror, which is very unique in its own right. And I think it's something that you either love or don't. I love it, so I'm very happy. And then Beneath the Trees, Folktales of DEFA 2, which, yeah, although I've seen 2 of the films, I'm really interested in seeing the other 3 and seeing what they have to offer. So for me, it's an interesting month with 3 titles that I will be getting. I'd love to know your thoughts on these releases. Is there anything that jumps out at you? Have you seen any of these films before? Do you have anything to tell me about them or tell anyone else? I'd love to read your comments about these releases and let me know what you're picking up, of course. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff in the description box, or links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com, always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching. See you next time.